Awesome, awesome. Thank y'all, appreciate you. You know, I was in a meeting back in January, and, you get some weirdos in their meeting and want to ask questions. And the guy said, I'm not America first. I'm like, oh, here we go. And he said, I'm America only. Like, that's it. That's really it, right? So we got to get where we're America only. And I won't get into it right now, but I also run a ministry called Freedom for Food Disaster Relief. So we travel all over the southeastern United States wherever there's a disaster. The question I get all the time, everybody comes up to me, do you ever go to Guatemala? Do you ever go to Africa? Do you ever go to Haiti? I said, have you ever been in your backyard? Yeah. Do you not see the people struggling down the road? I pass all these families and people struggling in my own backyard to go over there to do something. We have a struggling economy right now. So before I get into my spiel, I want to answer your question about voter fraud. So look at your voter guide. Should be Bobby Williams, Florida governor, your voter guide, by the way. But it's hosted by Sarasota MAGA patriots. So when people see Sarasota MAGA patriots, they respect you, right? They honor her vision. They honor the whole group's opinion. It's very well respected. The reason why the voter fraud happened, the reason why I know this, my meeting got canceled for Thursday night. I was supposed to be at the Sarasota, or the St. Augustine Airport, the hosting event, and it was, I get confused, there's so many of them, either RLC or REC, one of these meetings, they were hosting it, and they canceled it because the airport canceled it. Because they said they didn't want to get in politics anymore and all the politics stuff. So I called the question, I called somebody who's involved in all that, like, what really happened? Well, what happened was, just like you got your voter guide, the candidates you didn't have on that voter guide went and created their own voter guide. But the fraud that happened was they put the same people's logo on there. So it'd be just like somebody taking a Sarasota MAGA Patriots and going, this is the voter guide, and totally doing opposite of what.
And ours is copyrighted.
Right.
Legally.
Yes. So that's what they did. That's why you're seeing fraud in there and that kind of stuff. But that just shows you, it's crazy to me, because I'm not a politician, never cared to do politics, don't even want to do politics now. And I'll explain why I'm doing it later. But why would these people want these seats? Why would you fight so hard and lie, cheat, and steal to get these seats? Unless there's corruption money behind it, right? We see it right now. So that's the reason why in my message across the state, I love coming to meetings like this. We do two things. We say a prayer and say a pledge, right? One nation under what? God. We have to get God back in government. We have to get God back in police. Until we do that, nothing will never change. Part of my job running for governor going across this state, I understand why 3 years ago God told me to run for governor. It took him 2 years to convince me. But the reason why, I don't mean this is not the, if you know me, we do some amazing things. You know, I'll talk about it here a little bit later, but I moved over 100 million pounds of product into the state of Florida. You had to buy that 350 million gift income. And that's a huge, great number. But the greatest number I've ever seen, the tenth of thousands lives I've seen change. I watched women come off prostitution, drug addicts, all this stuff, life change. And I do this on a regular basis. So why do I want to step away from this that I know God's called me for, to go into politics, which is the most corrupt, wicked thing ever? So it wasn't until I started going around the state I understand why. For too long we voted against what? Links to evils. When you go to pick your ballot box, right, you go, man, which one's less evil? Well, to me and you, 1% of evil is too much evil, right? Evil is evil. It was funny, I was at a meeting last night, I was in Weston last night, and a guy got up, he said, I'm a Jewish, I'm a lawyer, this area, and all the anti-Semitism, and all these other words, that fancy words they use. How do you fix that? I said, it's easy. The problem isn't the schism. Because you can go that schism, you can do racism, you can do criticism. The problem is sin. Till we get sin out of the world, which we need Jesus, and we don't change anything. The problem is, everybody always wants to focus on the problem, talk about the problem, but we never want to talk about a solution. I teach a message everywhere I go. It's like, what's 2 plus 2? Every one of y'all said 4. Every one of y'all are wrong. The reason why, 2 plus 2 is the problem. The answer, I didn't ask for an answer. I just asked you what 2 plus 2 was. It's a problem. You gave me the answer, right? So when we talk about corruption, we talk about evil, we talk about all this stuff, we sit there and talk about all the stuff people are doing, the hate, all this stuff, but that's the problem. And that's all people want to talk about is the problem. But the answer is Jesus. So how we fix Florida, how we fix these seats, how we fix the mayor's race, the county commissioner race, the city commissioner's race, is godly men and women stepping up to the plate. We've been lied to too long that we win the ballot box. Have we won the ballot box? No. We've been even lied to that we vote red to win. Have we won there? You got a mayor sitting here talking about all his power being taken away from him, unaffordability, everything this we can talk about, and I'll talk about it here in a little bit. That's come on a red ticket for the last 20 years. The reason why my message going across the state is this, Matthew 7:16. You will know them by their fruit. Politicians especially. They're going to dress nice, they got polished speeches, they got to look good, they sound good, all this kind of stuff. But what's their fruit? Perfect example, we just seen him yesterday, Andrew Gilley. How many people believed in him? It was that close. Nobody wanted to listen that he was taking money, he was taking bribes, all this kind of stuff. They couldn't believe it, right? But most of us will look at it and go, we can see it. You can see the fraud, you can see the abuse, you can see all this. But so many people are blinded they couldn't see it. And just think where we'd be at as a state right now if he had won. From COVID to woke agenda, all this kind of stuff, where would we be at a state? Most of us probably be moving out of the state. But let me tell you something. Florida is at a tipping point right now. And your governor's race is that tipping point. Because the enemy comes disguised the angel of light. The new Democratic tactic is nothing new. The enemy's tactic is to change parties. A lot of these guys used to be Democrats, now they're Republicans. And some of them say they're Republicans, but really are not. What have they done? What have they produced? How many of y'all got friends or people you know that call themselves Christians, and you look at them and go, no way. I can tell by the way you talk, the way you act, everything about you, nothing says Christian about you. Because to be a Christian, you got to be Christ-like. So a lot of these guys, I'm Republican, but are you truly Republican? What is your fruit from that? So I want to tell you a little bit about myself, what really stands me apart from a lot of these guys, because a lot of us have the same story. I was even listening to Rick Scott a while back. Talking about he come up with the project. So my mother was 14 when she had my brother, 17 when she had me. My dad was actually making $2.38 an hour when they got married before they had me. Crazy story behind it, I don't get into it. But my grandparents were very alcoholic, drunk, very abusive, bad things. Wasn't a very good situation for our families. So anyways, we grew up very poor. But just like everybody else, what we call the American dream is real. And we all want to pursue the American dream. Unfortunately, the American dream is sold to you just wealth for more wealth. But the problem was, at age 25, I chased that dream. I started my business, got married, 26, had a beautiful little girl. By the time I was 30, my business was doing 7 figures. The problem with me was, for 32 years, nobody ever told me about Jesus. I wasn't raised in church. I never went to church. None of that ever happened in my life. So my whole life was about me. It's kind of like them birds on Nemo. Mine. All I was worried about was me. So at 32, I had a radical encounter with Jesus Christ and changed my life. I came home from a hunting trip, done what every Christian does, started going to church. The next 4 or 5 years going to church, I learned what not to do. Church don't do nothing. You go there, sit in the pew, they talk about a message, they talk about the issues, they talk about the problems, they talk about that, but nobody ever goes and does anything to get anything fixed. Amen. Even if you do 2/3 of God, if you don't know this, that's go. G-O-D. 2/3 of God is go. If you just do the 2/3, God will do the rest. So in 2016, I got frustrated and aggravated with the church. I'm like, man, I see the issues, I see the problems. But the thing is, I knew what it was like to be broken. I knew what it was like to be a lost little boy. At the age of 5, I found my dad's pornography tapes. At the age of 10, I was touched inappropriately. All this, at age 15, I started drinking. All this stuff has happened to me, and I knew what that was like, but I knew what it was like to be made whole. I had that encounter with Jesus, I knew it was real. And I'm like, how can y'all keep this message in the four walls of the church? We got to go tell people, we got to go pray for people, we got to go love people and tell them who they really are, and give them their identity. So in 2016, under Carport, I started a ministry called the Freedom for Food Disaster League, helping 5 to 10 less fortunate families. By the end of the year, we were up to 100 families. I'm like, man, we got this figured out, because that was really the standard. Most ministries feed about 100 a month, something like that, 100 a week. And I'm like, man, we're doing some great things. Well, in 2018, the Lord told me to start a church. I argued with him for about 2 weeks. Y'all know how that goes, right? Unfortunately, he's smarter than we are. Fortunately, not unfortunately. But he always wins. So in 2018, I started a church in a warehouse. God just made some miracles to where we ended up 2 years later in one of the worst cities, municipalities in Polk County. It was one of those places you didn't roll your windows down, you didn't drive slow. You kept going real fast. And it was a main intersection coming through one of our towns. And it gave me a church a couple of blocks into that municipality. And every morning we would come through that parking lot, pick up anywhere from 10 to 20 needles every day. Dope house was right next door. When they handed me the keys to the church, the existing pastor looked at me and said, "That's the problem." And I heard the Lord speak to me, go, "No, that's the solution." With 6 months, the dope man was in church. 6 months later, one by one, they were coming to church. He would start bringing them to church. Today, we have only 0 crime rate in that municipality. And what sets me apart from these guys and all these other guys is this. We all come from poverty, we all gain wealth. When I started my ministry and I sold my church, I quit chasing money. Last year, my business made less than, I think, $285,000. Chasing money, running my business no longer important. It was more important to touch and change people's lives. I'm not in this for money. I don't do this for money. I do this for lives being touched, lives being changed, and to bring Florida back where Florida needs to be. But when 2020 hits, we know what 2020 was, right? It wasn't just a stolen election, it was the year of COVID. So on opening day of COVID, I didn't social distance, I didn't mask, I didn't shut down, I didn't take a shot. What I did, I looked at my congregation and said, we're not going to do nothing differently. But this Sunday, what we're going to do is we're going to ride in this parking lot. We're already feeding some people. We're going to start feeding people. We're going to do a food drive. We're going to do a food line. We're going to pray for these people as they come through. We didn't do nothing the government told us because 2 reasons. Number 1, I believe in the blood of Jesus. Number 2, I believe in the Constitution. Yes. I have the right to assemble. If I have the right to assemble, you can't take that away from me. I don't care who you are, your president, whatever. And I was willing to go to jail for that. And my answer to that was Peter, Paul, and James went to jail. If I got to go to jail, let's get the jail saved. God's always good. My job is to be obedient to Him. So I didn't do none of that. Where were these other guys during COVID? So what happened that day, 1,500 people showed up in our car line. We actually had 3 different ways you could come into our church. It was back up 2 miles in every direction. People had no hope. They lost hope in their government. They lost hope in their grocery stores. Y'all couldn't even get toilet paper. Remember them days? Yeah. Literally, I was getting semi-loads of toilet paper. I was getting semi-loads of food. Anywhere from 1 to 10 semi-loads a day. It got ridiculous. And the craziest thing, I was getting stuff your government couldn't even get. They couldn't get Clorox bleach. They couldn't get the Clorox 360, which sprayed for all that. I was getting that. So a lot of times people ask me, you've never been a politician, what qualifies you for politics? Well, during COVID and hurricanes, I cut out all red tape. I worked over 500 different agencies and ministries and government agencies across the state. I work with EOCs, I work with city commissioners, county commissioners, mayors, sheriff's departments, all these, education system, every week, all the time with these, making Florida better. And what I did, I've done something most people can't do. You want to talk about a miracle? During COVID and hurricane, I got the Baptist church to work with the Pentecostal church. I got the Catholic church to work with the Presbyterian church. Because what I told them was, I'm not here to argue who's right or who's wrong. I'm here to make Florida better. Let's work together to benefit our communities. And we did that. Polk County right now is at a 54, 56, however long it's been reported, low crime rate. And it continues to go lower and lower and lower. And all y'all pretty much know, we know our great sheriff, Brady Judge. get up there in meetings and go, I'm a great sheriff, I got great law enforcement. He does sometimes say we are the best of the best, but he doesn't say that's the reason why we have low crime rate. What he says is takes good people doing good things for good things to happen. And as he's saying that, he's looking at me and other ministries in our county. So what I've done is learn how to duplicate what I do. I teach other ministries, other churches, other nonprofits how you do this, how you reach community, how you get out of the community, how you do this. And I showed through fruit, it works. Hurricanes. Our even governor said this the other day. He said, most people don't know who the governor is until a hurricane hits. Well, if anybody knows anything about hurricanes, it's me. I've been doing hurricanes for the last 10 years. Actually, I wrote it in 2004. I don't know if y'all were here in 2004. We were in Central Florida. We had 4 of them back to back to back to back. They all crisscrossed. Some weeks we were without power for 4 weeks. Some of them were 3 weeks. Some of them were 2 weeks. It was a long period of time. Even then, I wasn't saved. But my mom and dad raised me respect. Respect your neighbors. Love your neighbors. Be a blessing. So I was on the roofs, parking the roofs. I was cutting trees out of neighbors' yards. Whatever I could do to help them. I was actually traveling 30 minutes to an hour across the county to get gas because you couldn't get gas. We were running generators. We were running extension cords in there. So I started that even before I was saved. But in 2016, we seen hurricane after hurricane after hurricane. I seen all the issues on the cross. Hurricane Michael come through the Panhandle, 2018, whatever it is. 3 days after the storm, we took 2 trucks, 2 trailers up there. We slept on a barn floor to help the people. We hooked up with some military guys and went in there. They chainsaw before us. We come in after them, feeding communities, knocking on doors. People are weeping and crying. I just prayed to God. We're out of food. We're out of water. We don't have generators. We don't have time. We're showing up with all this stuff. Just watch God work. As we pulled out of there, Fort St. Joe called us and we need help down here. So literally, as soon as they got us in there, we pulled in Fort St. Joe, filled the gymnasium of it one day. And the EOC is one of them. How are you doing that? That's the number one, it's him. God's real. And his ministry's working together. Then Red Cross comes in, takes it away from us. Whole different story. So we moved down to another guy. He had no bar down there. We just stripped it, gut the bar, we moved everything in there. Then what happened was, there was no help down there at Mexico Beach. So they reached out to me and said, we need more help down here. We really want to do a Thanksgiving dinner. So I have a 75 by 100 big gospel tent we put on Mexico Beach for Thanksgiving dinner. We fed 2,500 people during that Thanksgiving. But what that turned out to, that turned out to the headquarters for the next 6 months. We stayed down there and helped those people for 6 months. While the camera was gone, nobody was rolling, most people don't know who I am, and most people didn't know I did it. They called it the big white tent, all they ever called it. They never knew I was behind it or the Freedom Force behind it. It was never about that. It's always about helping people. So 2 years ago, I went to our EOC, and I'm like, man, y'all got too much red tape. I watch a hurricane come in. Some of y'all probably seen this. Hurricane comes in. The government's got plenty of resources. They just don't know how to distribute resources. You'll drive down the road, you drive to your county, your city building, there'll be pallets of water, pallets of MREs, pallets of parts, and the line's about 6 miles long, and they're trying to figure out how to distribute it. What I did, I went to our county, I said, I know all the faith-based ministries in Polk County. I work with them every day. I work with United Way. We have partnerships. Let me work with these people. So what we did, we created a map in our county. How many of y'all can get a semi? Can you get a semi in? Can you get a semi out? Do you have a forklift unloaded? Do you need a lift gate? What do you need? You need pallet jacks. What do you have? What do you need? And we created that. So when Hurricane Milton come in 2024, I was blessed with 10.5 million pounds in our county for free. And what that did, that allowed our counties and cities to go do their job. They could fix your water, they could fix your electrical, they could do what they needed to do, direct traffic, all that. It took that weight off them. I'm willing to do that. I still do that today. I do it for free. We don't get a dime from it, no paycheck from it. I understand that I'm called to serve. Because the problem with our nation, the problem with our state right now is no longer we the people. It's we the lobbyists and we the big corporations. So the biggest question I get is how do you beat the machine? How do you beat that? Well, it's easy. When you're raising 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 90 million, those people are buying a spot of influence, of money. The reason why we are in a situation today, you don't have a voice. I'm against AI data center. I watched the meeting, fill a room up with all the residents, all the people. Everybody was against it, and I watched the city commissioner vote 6-0 against the people. Everywhere I go, I have mayors, county commissioners, city commissioners walk up to me, want to meet me, and want to talk to me, because just what that mayor said right there, we no longer have any power, we no longer have authority, it's all been taken away to Tallahassee. They take home rule away, you have no say, and that's coming on a Republican ticket. What's the fruit? A lot of these guys say this, and because a lot of them are looking for the DeSantis endorsement. I'm endorsed by one and one only. That's all I'm going to be endorsed by. I give Governor DeSantis a seat. What do you mean? He doesn't go during woke, he doesn't go during COVID. But the issues that the mayor even talked about, our insurance agent, our insurance prices, your electric bills, your property tax.
Yes.
What happened? Why the last year, the last month, you're going out of office, property taxes and border? He wins either way, right? I fought for y'all. Even though it didn't go, I fought for y'all. I tried. Your governor can fix most of your affordability issues right now. You know, all your guys will get up here, if you ever heard of insurance. How do we fix insurance? We got to create more market. We got to get more people in. That's their answer, right? That's all they'll say. If you know anything about business, you know anything about corporate America, you know anything about us getting ripped off and raped and pillaged, you'll understand this. Even back in the oil industry, when they had one oil company, one monopoly, they told you can't have a monopoly anymore. What did he do? Created 5 more companies, made them 5 more times wealthier. So what do you think happens when they say we need more competition, more insurance companies? Same big corporation owns them all. And they come in here and create a false market. And your governor appoints a board, insurance commission, that says yay or nay to these insurance companies. Same way with your utility companies. You know how many times they get told no? No. Never. How can you be for the people, be voted for the people, and we can't afford to live in Florida, and an insurance company who's making hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, I think State Farm made $10 billion or $5 billion in record profits the last couple of years, and they go into you and say we need a rate increase, they go yes. How can you do that? How can you have a heart for the people and say that? I live in Central Florida, Winter Haven, born and raised, 3rd generation. It's so important because Florida is no longer being Florida anymore. And we have Tico. Tico in the year 23-24 made $300 million profit. Hurricane Milton comes through. Now, if you know anything about business and government, electrical companies love hurricanes. They make a lot of money, charge a lot of overtime. They get paid for all that. They're not doing it charitable and free, and we're not bailing them out. They're making a lot of money. So they said, you know what, Hurricane Milton come through. We need an increase. Guess what happened? Got an increase. 24-25. Guess how much more money they made in 24-25? $100 million more. Oh, wow. $400 million. Has anybody been replaced from that board? No. Your governor appoints these boards. You talk about city commissioners, county commissioners. We know a lot of them are raping and pillaging in Florida. They're allowing developers to rape and pillage Florida. Has any of them been removed from office? No. The governor has that power. These guys are not talking about what's real, what's the heart. When do we get back to meet the people? Property tax. I'm for no property tax. Two reasons. Number one, I deal with widows. I see unaffordability every day. And it's not, I don't want to feed homeless. I feed the sheriff's department. I'm feeding school teachers. I'm feeding the average working citizen, county workers, city workers, every day. We average 1 million pounds a month. We do food drives almost every day in our county. And we make it to where it's okay. It's almost like going through a McDonald's drive-thru. It ain't like the mean. Everybody does. They'll pull up in brand new Denali's. They'll pull up in Escalades, all of this. And we've done it the year of COVID. I was doing it with Brady Judd. We were standing there, and we were talking, doing an interview, and he got mad because a brand new Denali come through. He's like, how do you get food to that people? They ain't right there still. I said, you have no idea who they are. Is that a grandmother getting for their children, their grandchildren? Did they just get laid off? I don't know. But then, are they a typical American citizen? They put all their money in a car instead of real estate. They'll live in a broke down trailer or motel, but they'll drive a Cadillac Escalade. I don't know that. It's not my job to judge. My job is to love them and pray for them. So it doesn't really matter. I see them all. I see them all. It ain't just homeless struggling today. It's every one of them. So when you get a property tax that's tripled in the last 3, 4, 5 years, have y'all got triple the services?
No.
Have your roads been fixed? Has your education got better? What's happened? Nothing. That's number one. Number two is this. I use this example everywhere I go. If you got a 12-year-old spoiled rotten kid that has access to mommy and daddy's credit card, when will they ever quit spending? Never will. So until we take that money away from them,
Yes.
they won't quit spending. Well, the next question I ask you, what does a 12-year-old do when you take his phone and the credit card and everything away from him? What's he going to do? Going to throw a tantrum, going to throw a fit, going to threaten you with, I don't care to live anymore, I can't live anymore, I want just whatever they can do, right? What are county commissioners doing now? Same thing. What do they threaten you with? Two biggest things. You ain't going to have law enforcement, you're going to have an education system. Let's start with education. If you took the public education system away from us now, we probably wouldn't lose anything. It's that saying, don't threaten me with a good time, right? Our education system is horrible. We got to get life skills back in school, we got to get trades back in school, we got to teach these kids something. Not everybody's committed to college. I didn't go to college. Most of my friends, we were heathens. We drank beer, chased women. What I was taught my whole life, right? You will know what you're taught. But at about 24, 25, we all started businesses. Some of them are electricians, some of them own electrical companies, they own plumbing companies, they own air conditioning companies. My brother's a general contractor, I own an electrical communication company for 25 years, still own it today, and very successful. But if I would have been taught in high school how to do that, I could have saved a lot of money and a lot of time. Because do you do an LLC, do you do S Corp, do you do a C Corp? Do you keep it private? Do you do a handyman license? What kind of license do I have to have? Budget, what's the budget? What's an account? Why do I have an accountant for? You know, if you could teach kids this in an early age, it would change society. We have created a lazy generation. It is created through our government and our education system. It's by design, 100%. We got to get kids back to work. How many 12-year-olds go home bored to death? And they're in HOAs, they're in all this, you can't go outside and play, you can't play in the road, you can't do this. So many rules and regulations. You know, it's terrible. So we have to fix our education system. So, on time?
Well, I want to give you time.
All right, let me wrap this one up and then we'll be questions next. So, the two things they're going to threaten you with is law enforcement and your education system. If you know anything about that, your county commissioners have zero say in your sheriff's and your education system. So let's take that's 50 to 60 to 70% of their budget. So let's take that, and it's not even right now. Your property tax is not even fully funding it. So, and I'll go back. I thought our lottery money was supposed to pay for our education system anyhow. Didn't y'all know? Remember that one? So why can't we make the state pay for it? Because our own governor said this 3 weeks ago. He said, we got so much money coming in that we have a slush fund, a rainy day fund, we paid 50% of our debt over 7 years. And I go through his budget, there's a lot of waste and fraud in there too. So we have plenty of money in the state, which is going to take away from our property tax, take away from the burden of the county. It's an easy solution to fix everything. So God bless y'all, thank y'all. Then we'll do the
But now I'm going to put him to the test. If you have a question, just come line up in the center aisle here.
Questions right here.
Yeah, in front of the microphone. And we'll get to as many as we can. You know what our time is.
I don't have a timer. You're the timer. You tell me when to stop. Usually I try to speak a lot and answer a lot of questions when you don't have questions. That's fine. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
How you doing? I'm a native myself. Born and raised right here in Venice, at hospital, Oh, I don't know. I've never spoken to the microphone before. My name is RJ Fisher. I'm a local, a real local. I was born and raised here. I'm really concerned, like you said, about AI data centers and whatnot, and illegal migration. How are you going to make sure that data centers are not going to be taken up? And in addition to that, what most importantly, like I said, I'm a native. I joined the Army right after September 11th. I went and spent a decade in Germany with my wife and kids, my wife is not American by the way, but she's here now. And I come back here, and I can't get a house. I was born and raised here. How many people were born in Venice before? Not many. And I can't buy a house in my own hometown because we have an immigration of people from up north who voted in horrible policies. They realized what they did was a huge mistake. Instead of fixing it, they come down here and make it impossible for people like me. What are we going to do about that? Thank you.
Well, we live in a capitalist country, so you can't just market things in and out. But one of my messages across the state is Florida is full. One of our issues with our real estate market right now, and the reason why we're priced out of it, is when I say do not New York my Florida is one of my slogans. And part of New York and my Florida is you got these hedge funds, all this big money coming in here. Not only they're paying for all the development, they're buying the development. They're creating a false real estate market. They're pricing me and you out of houses. Because they can outbid you. Because it's not, in fact, this Fort Rock kid, it's not their money. They don't care if the house is worth $100,000. They're going to pay $300,000. Why? It's not their money. Because all they care about is, you know what? I'm going to buy this whole development. I'm going to buy 50% right now. I'm going to buy it at $300,000. Then what we're going to do is we're going to buy the other 50% at $400,000. To their investors, they've made $100,000 on paper. So they're creating a false real estate market and they're creating a false rental market because they're taking everything. You know. So that's one of the biggest things. We got to quit allowing our stuff in play right now, the Sanders are doing and Trump's doing to make that happen. You know, we got to quit allowing these big companies to come in here and do that. You know, and I don't know how you can regulate that. I mean, you know, if you own your own house, you got to free. It's always a tipping point. There's two sides to every coin. You know what I'm saying? You own your own property, so you want to have a right to do things. AI data centers, my goal is to put a moratorium on them. You know, reason why you can't have an AI data center, number one, we don't have the water. That's so everything. We don't have the water. Number two, if you know anything about mechanics and working on stuff, you got Freon and chemicals in your water to cool these things. What's going to happen to that water? They're going to include it back in our water. So our waters are already polluted, we lost our fishes. Number three, AI is putting people out of jobs, so that's my biggest thing. So then the fourth biggest thing is this. I use Everglades as a perfect example. You watch politicians and big corporations rape and pillage the Everglades, make hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Now, who's paying for it? Me and you, in the billions. What's going to happen with these AI data centers is they're going to put them in, 5-10 years, technology's going to change. You're going to have 4 million, 5 million square foot buildings, nothing full of lithium batteries, all this stuff, and they're going to file bankruptcy, walk away, wash their hands of it, and who's going to get stuck paying the bill? Then where's it going? Into the landfill. So, yes.
I had to wait because I thought that the guy before me was asking about data centers, he might be asking my question. My question to you is, if you are elected governor.
When?
All right. When you are elected governor, how will you get these things passed? I mean, how will you corral our legislature? Because therein, according to Mr. Roby, there's the problem. We can't corral those people, and the governor is pretty much at the mercy of legislation.
So there's always fruit, right? You got to look at, there's always examples throughout the deal. Why is Trump able to do what he's doing now? The swamp's been a swamp for years. But you see, we ain't got there yet, but you're seeing progress, you're seeing people get behind. Everybody's looking for a leader. Everybody's looking, we're all created by God, we all have truth in us. Everybody's looking for truth. If you truly got somebody, that kind of stuff, I can't tell you how many meetings I go to, how many people I talk to, when they hear me talk, they're right behind me. Because it's truth. When you stand on truth, you stand on God, people are moving and moving. People want to do what's right. The problem is all the examples we got are not right. That's true. So once you get a leader in place, people will follow. Good.
I'm a refugee from a number of different places. I moved to Sarasota County, it's a charter county, and we have a constitution, our charter. And at the same time, we have a U.S. Constitution that the Congress seems to violate regularly. same time, Florida is one of the first 3 states to pass a resolution to call for an Article 5 Convention of States so that we, the people, can impose term limits on the Congress that won't do it, regulatory overreach from the federal government. We've got a Department of Education, we've got a Department of Health. We don't need one in the Washington, D.C. swamp. In any case, there's a movement to rescind that resolution that was passed by Florida, one of the first 3 states to pass it. Do you or do you not support that move for the people of this state?
No, I support it. And the biggest thing is we gotta get accountability. So until we get accountability, so one thing I want to do is I want to make voter fraud treason on our country. 20 years minimum. Make it to where it's penalized. I mean, if you run drugs in our state, you get 20 years minimum, 30 years minimum. If you steal an election, you get a hand slap. I mean, when do we accountability? When do we start putting people in cuffs? And I'm being funny, but I'm being real. I know y'all are big Trump guys. But a Democratic president can put Trump in jail and get him arrested. But now we as president can't do the same thing to them. We got to put people in handcuffs. We got to see accountability. It's like my problem right now with Lazy Gold here running around dodging all these states and cities and counties and all that. They're wasting hundreds of millions of dollars. He's done it for a year. What's happened? Till we get somebody who's going to fight for the people and make people accountable, it will not change. Yes, ma'am. Y'all are too polite. You'll stand in line, you'll listen.
We're good patriots. Anyway, I first want to say, I don't work for Bobby, but I believe in Bobby. What's your opinion on the flock cameras that are surveillance everything we do? What can you do to stop them?
I'm a straightforward person, honestly. I'm against them. Do I know what we can do to stop them? I can't tell you that. Till Governor DeSantis said this a few weeks back, and I obviously gained information. He said when he became governor, what he asked was, give me all my books, tell me what I can and can't do. You know, that's what I got. Till I don't know what I can or can do, I can tell you my heart and my vision for Florida is obviously against that. We got enough big government. You know what I'm saying? We got to get away from big government kind of big stuff. So I don't know how that works. Because for me, you got to look at, there's a difference in flock cameras and cameras. Because right now, you've had DOT for many years. They got cameras going all down 75. It tells you your traffic. It tells you, helps you with hurricanes. It helps you with, when a hurricane hits, tell you what roads to take. There's a lot of stuff with that. But just with over surveillance and cameras and foreign entities tied into it, that's the problem. To me, if you have any kind of camera system, it's got to be a closed network. Nowhere to access it outside.
One more. Is that flock cameras under federal or under state? Do we know?
I don't know that answer. But obviously, as a state governor, we can change that and do that. But I don't know how it works. Please. Go.
Hi, I have 2 issues. The first one is inflation. Of course, I love Trump, I love DeSantis, but the Republicans have totally ignored why communism is taking over in these cities, and it's because of inflation and the broken people. What are you going to do about that? And the second issue is education. Do you have Christian people behind you? Do you understand you need to get rid of the phones and computers in lower grades and kids and go back to finding some classical education and school choice is wonderful, but we left behind all those other kids that are getting the garbage.
100%. Public education is so important, and everything, even whether it's the gospel or it's school, it starts with simple things. We got to get back to basic reading, basic arithmetic, all this stuff. You got to build a foundation, and that's what we got to do. You know, so what you said is true. I kind of said it earlier. We're in a situation we are today because of Republicans. You know, 21 years ago. But it's getting rid of these boards, quit bowing down to the insurance company, quit bowing down to that. Because what truly happens is they want your government dependent. Then that comes socialism, Then after that comes communism. We know that. That's what we're doing. So that's the reason why I took it upon myself, because the government ain't gonna fix it. The church, the reason why we're in the situation we are today, to be honest with you, is not because of our government. It's because of our churches.
Stay quiet.
If the church,
Stay in the pew.
if the churches would do the job they're supposed to do,
Amen.
we wouldn't be in the situation we are today.
Amen.
But,
We are going, if it's the economy, stupid.
right.
If you don't see that out there, that people are going to the grocery store, I mean,
That's the reason why my lines are 200 to 300 people a day long.
Yeah.
So we're taking, so I've been blessed to get groceries. I work with all the national retailers across the nation, different ones, different ways, and we literally get semi-loads
but
delivered.
how are you going to lower the inflation? Just tell us, because nobody's talking about it.
Inflation is controlled by your government, which is controlled by interest rates. And they did it themselves when they took your 2 to 3% and jumped it up to 6 to 7%. And that's what Trump was trying to do, is get your interest rates down. If you get the interest rates down, people start spending money, but right now you got fear in your country, you got fear on all that. I wish I could just magically do this and fix everything, but.
So that's what the vote
Right.
it is. Hi, Bobby.
Hey.
Two things. The question was asked earlier, what are we going to tell people if they come to a red tent and they want to know about governor? I can tell you what my answer is. Vote for Bobby Williams for governor. That is my personal view, and it changed a week ago, and I wanted you to know that, and I think I told you this to your face. It changed a week ago, listening to you and understanding that you have a very deep understanding of all of the different issues that might face a governor. And you may not know the answer to everything, but I believe that you have the ability to say, I don't know, and go get the info. And those were very important qualities to me, along with the but I think it's an important statement to make. The question I have is about the Live Local Act. The Live Local Act sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Gee.
They all sound beautiful.
It just sounds great. And it was rooted in the idea of affordable housing. However, it's been used and pushed by the development community to then go into ag lands, rural lands, open space lands, and say, oh, right here in this very rural area, we can now build a 6-story apartment building because it's affordable housing. Will you help us get rid of the Live Local Act?
Amen. Because one of my goals to fix all that is to stop rezoning. Because how they get away with everything. To stop rezoning, because most of Florida right now is on agricultural, Act 5, Act 2, Act 10, all that kind of stuff. And you stop rezoning, we're done. Florida's full. You know what I'm saying? And we got to stop it with rezoning. There is a solution, there is an answer, and it's yes, ma'am. I'm for that. I'm against it. I'm tired of developers raping and pillaging and destroying part. I mean, it's just disgusting what you see and do. And the problem is, the mayor says it, every city and county commissioner says it, they have no voice anymore. And it's been taken away from Republicans. From us. We no longer have power. Our cities and locals don't have power. We have nothing. And it's all going to Tallahassee. People have nothing. Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so not if, but when your time is up.
You listen, I'm so proud of you. She gets a sticker, everybody, so give her a sticker when she leaves.
I stole this sticker.
She took my Bobby Williams sticker earlier.
Because I'm really short, I apologize. Can you hear better?
Yeah.
Okay, so when your time as governor is over, what is one thing you hope that the people of Florida will say that you changed about Florida?
Preserve Florida. Preserve Florida. We got our fisheries back, we got clean water, we preserved our land, and affordability. True affordability. And changing communities.
Now my question. When I spoke to you down in Charlotte County, at that event, you told me you were opposed to having a new U.S. Constitutional Convention. Now it sounded to me like you just told Rick, okay, for Florida. So are you for a new U.S. Constitutional Convention, or are you against it?
When you're asking me that, I mean, what he was saying was, are you for what was put in place? You know what I'm saying? To keep our rights back to be the people and that kind of stuff.
No, what he was actually saying, I am the spokesman for John Birch Society for Florida for this issue for Article 5. Rick is the main guy for the Convention of States Organization in Florida. So we are both on the absolute opposite ends of this issue.
Okay. So
My-
explain to me then that way so I understand.
Okay, so here's what happened. What he's talking about is, on 6 occasions, 4 of them in 2024, the Florida legislature made application to the Congress to have a new Article 5 convention. Right? It only required 34 states, and Congress shall call. That's the exact words in Article 5. So right now, different people have a different count. My best information is that we're at 33 states. 33 states, 34, the Congress shall call it according to the text. Now, if they call it or they don't call it, there really isn't much of an enforcement mechanism in there. My opinion, and this is one of my campaign platforms, is that if we have a new constitutional convention, we will lose the First Amendment. We will probably lose the whole Bill of Rights. We'll lose the structure of our country. This issue is going on basically for the entire length of the highway. The first call for a new constitutional convention was actually proposed in New York in 1789. Right? It was to have a Bill of Rights. It depends upon how the Congress decides to count these, right? And there's no guidance in the statute, there's no guidance in Article 5 as to how they do that. I don't want to get into all the technical details of it. This is a very complicated issue.
Well, that's my thing.
In some ways, it's really simple. The question is this: do you want to have a new U.S. Constitutional Convention and open our Constitution up to a total rewrite?
No.
Or do you want to rescind Florida's application for a new constitutional convention?
Yeah, so I may be finished. My goal is for we the people. I believe in the Constitution, I believe in the Bill of Rights, I believe what we stand on. Once we allow anybody to deviate from that, you open yourself to deception. The reason why I'm for Second Amendment. Once they try to go, oh, this gun, that gun, you open yourself up to it. So once you start allowing legislation and judges to make decisions against what we have, it starts opening the door and they start pulling our rights away.
Right.
So for me, whatever, we the people. Like I said, I don't know all your details, get into details, but my biggest thing is I'm fighting for the people, to God, one nation, under God, and keep our rights the way they've always been.
I'd like to give you a little more information.
And that's fine, you can do that, but like I said, that's my heart. So if you come to me, anything outside of that, I'm not for that. So the people, they come to you different questions, different asks. That's the reason why my heart is for the people. I'm proving that, showing that, and I'm for the Constitution. That's the reason why during COVID, I didn't shut down, I didn't mask, I did it. Why? Because I believe in the Constitution. That's where we are righteous.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Bobby, when you are governor, what are you going to do to address Sharia law taking over?
So DeSantis is already working on that. I'm not sure all the details. For me, this throws people off when I first say this, but if you understand what I say, you understand. We have separation of church and state. That's right. And I'll tell you, I agree with that. And at first, what do you mean? The church is just as corrupt as the state is. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point of argument is I'm with that. I believe in the Word of God. I'm not trying to get church into government. I'm trying to get the Word of God not into where it started and where it should be. State. So long as we stand on biblical principles, Sharia law has no right or no way in anything we do. You know what I'm saying? That's just my foundation, what I believe. And that's going to be my argument because our Constitution and Bill of Rights all was founded on the Word of God. Do not kill, do not steal, do not commit adultery. That's all founded upon the Word of God. And Sharia law is so opposite of that. So I know the governor's done some stuff, working on stuff, so I'm going to work on everything. I see that. It's the enemy working within. That's the reason why seats are so important, because how they win is they run for these seats, they tell you a lie, Madami. Some guy says their name's Madami. That's a good one. But we have guys right now running for governor who's Madami, trying to say he's a Christian, and he's not. So that's the reason why fruit and so forth. So 100% I'm going to fight for look up. We got one gentleman right here. Good.
So, all this is well and good and great, solar tax is great, preserving Florida great, that's all great, those are important issues. But, for me, it feels like, you want to push the conservative value, but I've heard one truly conservative value push, other than, your stance on the biblical principles. But what would you do to make, family values a winning issue again? Because we've been told, a lot of you are going to be mad at this, but Trump has said in the past that abortion is not a winning issue. So what are we going to do to make it a winning issue? Because for so long, conservatives have been back in the corner like a dog, and eventually a smart dog is going to fight back. But, from marriage to, transgenderism to abortion, we allowed ourselves just kind of take it on the chin and sweep it on the rug, and we never bring it back to, what are we going to do to make those?
Here's my friend for governor. Get God back in school, God back in government. You know what I'm saying? It starts with these children. Teaching these kids wrong. We got to get God back. We did it today. I love it. We did all three we should do when I was a kid. We said a pledge, we said a prayer, and we even sang that song when I was a kid in school. And it teaches you by reputation and doing it. These kids do it, and the kids do it, and obviously the parents see it to get involved. It's in fact, we got to get a moral compass. And it starts with a leader. You got to have a leader that's full of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That everybody's looking for that leader. And you see it through biblical time, you see it through now. You see it with Charlie Kirk. It wasn't until Charlie Kirk really had assassination that people grabbed a hold of that. But things happen in our nation, in our state, whatever, when men and women of God make this thing, it changes.
How do we unapologetic for that? Like,
Well, you do.
how are you going to bring that? Because
I'm the example. But me being an example, it shows everybody to be the example, because I'm not unapologetic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to apologize for nothing. I'm asking you not to deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. I'm not about it. So I can care less. I'm not here to be apologetic about anything. I'm going to tell you my stance, tell you my belief. And the reason why I can do that is I have proof. I watch life change. I watch community change. So my job is if I can do it, you can do it. Then if you'll just go do what I do, and what Jesus did, it changes everything. But the problem is people sitting in a room and complain, they go, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. I don't go to that church because they're a bunch of hypocrites. Why don't you go down to that church and show them how to live and do it? If you know everything that's wrong about them, that means you know what's right about them. So you, every one of us, go be that example. So God bless you.
Bobby Williams for looking forward to the day when he's our new governor. A couple of things we need to take care of before you leave. Bobby has a table in the back that has his t-shirts, his yard signs, all free. Oh my goodness.
And we also have flyers back there. If you want an outdoor knock, do all that. I bought thousands of flyers. Please grab a handful, grab a bunch. Please help do that. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you.